I got a client order recently and she wanted me to recreate something like this with certain changes. This is the end result of what I created, inspired by that video from the beginning. In today's video, I'll be showing you all how I made this cute double rose headband with bead detailing and some Croc stone embellishments. If you'll be interested in knowing how to recreate something like this, please make sure you watch this video to the end, subscribe to this channel, remember to like the video, and don't hesitate to share with your friends. Alright guys, let's get started. To make this headband, you need your Asooke fabric, you need your plastic headbands. I'm showing two because I'm making two different designs of headband. You need your soldering iron because you guys know I like to use soldering iron with my Asooke. You need your tape rule for taking measurements. You need your glue gun as well as your hot glue sticks that I'm pointing at right there. You also need your tailor's chalk for marking measurements. You need your ruler, and you also need your scissors and thread snippers. This is a piece of fabric I'm going to be using to wrap my headband. For those that are new here, I have tutorials on how to wrap a headband neatly. Feel free to go check them out. You also need two pieces of fabric that are about 50 inches long. I'm going to show you guys how we are going to incorporate these into the design we are working on. You also need two more pieces of fabric that are about 17 inches long. I'm also going to be illustrating how they come into play. And you need a little piece of fabric. I made a mistake here. This fabric is about 6 inches long. Please make yours 12 inches long. At this point, I'm going to go about wrapping my headbands. Like I said, I'm working on two different designs of headband, but the second design is going to be in another video. I received these client orders from a particular family, and the two clients wanted two different designs. So I'll share the second design I made for the second person in another video. At this point, I'm just wrapping my headband. Like I said, I have detailed tutorials on how to wrap headband neatly. Feel free to go check it out. For those that might be curious about my business logo, I got it off of AliExpress. I've talked about it as well in a different video. I'll try my best to link all the necessary videos for you on the screen. This is the 15 inches piece of fabric that I mentioned earlier. What I'm going to do now is to just secure the edge of the fabric just the way I'm illustrating on the screen, just rolling it up a very little bit, about quarter of an inch twice. And after doing that, it will be time for us to create our pleats for the rose design. The creation of the pleats, I can't really explain, but please make sure that you are slanting your pleats. I tried my best to illustrate. I'm going to show you guys again. You are creating pleats on a slanting pattern. Your pleats are not just going straight. Please replicate these pleats on your own piece of fabric and continue all the way through. Talking might not do justice to this portion of the video, so above listening to everything I'm saying in this particular portion, please watch and replicate. And like I'm also showing on the screen, you need your safety pin to secure your plates in place. If you have questions regarding anything that I did in this video after watching all the way to the end, please feel free to ask your questions down in the comment section. Also, please remember to like this video. Very important, guys. I put in a lot of work in creating useful and valuable content for you, and the only way that you guys can appreciate me is by hitting the like button. And if you also feel led in any way, shape or form to give to this ministry that I'm conducting on here on YouTube, please use the super thanks button on the screen and drop, or give, not drop, give any token that is laid in your heart. It will mean a lot to me. Thank you guys so much. So like I said earlier, I'll keep quiet, allow you guys watch me create my plates, and once we are done with this portion of the video, I'll show us what we need to do next. After creating all the pleats on my two pieces of fabric, I'm showing you guys where we need to sew. I'm still going to talk through this entire portion, so just watch me show you guys where you're sewing. Remember, we did two 50 inches long pieces of fabric, and I went ahead to pleat the two pieces of fabric on a slanting manner. I'm going to now switch to talking real time using my microphone. Okay friends, so I'm done working on the wrapped headbands like I showed us. If you've not seen the tutorial on how to wrap a headband, I believe I put a sped up montage on how I wrapped the headband, but if you want a more slow paced and detailed tutorial, I'll link it on the screen for you, so please feel free to go check it out. But this is the wrapped headband. I'm making two different designs for these clients, but I'm going to film the tutorial on the second style in a different video. So for the sake of today's video, we are working on the double rose design. I've already made one rose out of this my pleated fabric that we have here. So I'm just going to explain how I made this out of this for us, just so we quickly understand. So I went ahead to also use my sewing machine to just sew down each pleat. So after pleating each portion and pinning it down like I showed us, I took it to my sewing machine and just simply ran stitches right here at the bottom. For those that don't have a sewing machine, you can decide to use your hand needle to sew it, just that that one will be more stressful. Even the sewing machine one was a bit stressful, so just pick your battle, decide which one you would prefer and use. But aside that, now that this is all done, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pick this. You want something that looks like a curve after pleating. You want your fabric to just look curved a bit. I believe you guys watched the way I created this pleat. So if you didn't watch it, please go back and watch it so you basically get the gist of everything that I showed us. But after you've pleated everything correctly, your fabric should be looking a bit slanty. It shouldn't be just straight pleats. All right, so starting from this pointy edge, you will have one edge that is pointy, like following the curve. Let me zoom out so we get the gist of what I'm saying. So you have an edge that is kind of just sticking out right here like this. This is the edge you want to start rolling from. So I'm going to zoom in now just so we see what I'm showing us. So from this pointy edge, you will pick your fabric like so and start to roll. Roll very, how do I place it now for it to be easy for me? Let me flip it this way. You just pick the pleats, and before even getting to this, you need to thread your hand needle because we are going to be doing some hand stitches. So I'm just going to, my thread is already short, so let me just thread another one. All right guys, so now that I've already gone ahead to thread my needle, I'm using a regular hand needle. This is not a beading needle, just for those that are curious. So I'm going to start picking this my pleated fabric and rolling it gradually. And as I'm rolling, I'm stitching it down. So starting from this first one, I'll create my stitch. This first like rolled up piece, I'll stitch it down. Go back and forth. Like so. And after you've done this, you keep rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling till you get to the end of your fabric. This portion is a bit technical, but it's not something you cannot do if you just take your time with it. Just gradually, there's no rush. I always say there's no rush. I don't know if you people are rushing, but if you are rushing, please take your time. Let's not be too in a hurry. So I'm just going to do this real quick. I'm going to keep quiet now. Allow you guys watch the way I'm rolling it, and then when we are done, you guys will see the end results. So can we see how the rose is already forming gradually? So that's how you create your rose. There's a lot of hand activity going on here. You'll be using your hand to adjust it to your desired shape. The power is in your hand. So let's put our fingers to action.
So can we see how the two pieces of like rose Asooke looks? So now in the picture at the beginning, or in the picture on the thumbnail, this is how these rows will sit on the Asooke, and then we'll have feathers going on right here. I don't have feathers for the sake of today's video, but we get the gist. If you want feathers, just simply tack the rows like this onto your headband and then add the feathers if you're going, and then of course add your croc stones. I'm still going to add croc stones to this my rose. Okay, I'm going to be using my pearl setting machine to just attach croc stones around these edges right here. So the choice of the placement of the rose is yours, but for my client, she doesn't want the rose to be sitting on the headband like this. She wants it to be flat. So I'm simply going to tack my own rows flat like this. This is what it's going to look like at the end of the day. So ultimately, the choice of the placement of the rows is yours. So please do what suits you or what your client is asking for. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go ahead to tidy up my stitch here, make sure that my rose is firmly secured, and then it will be time for me to attach these rows onto my wrapped headband.
We'll take a slight break in transmission when it comes to the rose design that we are working on to create our pleated portion of this particular headband. My client wants this headband to be like a two-in-one headband such that she mimics the look of an AUTOGELE even though it's a regular headband she's wearing. So at this point, I went ahead to sew my two pieces of 17 inches long pieces of Asooke. I sewed it together to make one single piece, and I also went ahead to sew the edge of my little fabric that I mentioned at the beginning was 6 inches long, but I told you guys to make yours 12 inches. I went ahead to do that and turn that inside out, and now this is just me marking 1 inch all over this joined piece of fabric. I hope we are all following. After that, I went ahead to just draw straight lines. This is just to guide me when trying to create this into pleats. And for the portion where we are going to be working on the pleats, I'm going to illustrate to us how we are going to make this into pleats. At this point, I'm showing you guys that the distance for each pleat is 1 inch. But after doing some work, I rethought it and then I decided to make it half of an inch instead. So I went about creating another piece of lines in between off camera. This is how you're going to first of all fold the beginning of your fabric to just, the way AUTOGELE looks, right? And then after that, you start working on your pleats. You need to take this to your sewing machine and then sew each pleat down. I've done this before on the channel. I'll try and link that video on the screen for us. Watch how I created the pleats in that particular video. That entire video was a turban tutorial and it's more detailed than this. So for those that are interested in recreating something like this, go watch that video.
Okay friends, so this is what the pleated portion looks like. This took me about 25 minutes, and if you are seeing white marks here is my tailoring chalk. When I'm done, I'm going to just use a wet cloth to just wipe it off. So what I'm going to do now is to attach elastic to the sides. I have my elastic right here. You can use the black or any color of elastic that you have, and this is the 1 inch elastic. If you have the 2 inch elastic, the width of this place to this place is about 2.5 inches. If you have the 2 inch elastic, you can use it. I have the 2 inch elastic, but I can't seem to find it, and I just want to try and finish up this work today, so I'm going to make do with this my 1 inch elastic. So what I'm going to do now is I'm simply going to place this here and then stitch it down on this portion, and we're going to see how I'm going to go about attaching this other piece to it. So first things first, I'm going to go ahead and stitch down this elastic to this portion of the headpiece or the headband, pleated headband, and then I'll come back to show us. All right guys, so now that I've sewn this, as we can see, I'm simply going to pick up this piece of Asooke fabric and I'm going to pass my elastic through it like so. If you have a bodkin, you can use your bodkin to do this passing, but because the length is not so wide, I can make do with my hand. So you want to fit this edge into this elastic portion. Just do it as carefully as possible. There's no pressure. And for me, after I've successfully done this, I'm just going to try and pull on the elastic a little bit. And then you want to tuck in, I hope you can see what I'm doing. You want to tuck in this edge of this elastic casing. Just tuck it in a little bit, or before you even pass it, what you want to do is to first of all tuck it in to make your work easier, and if possible take it to your ironing board and iron it down. so that it stays put. So I'm going to do that real quick. I'll take this to my ironing board. You see the way I folded this edge in? I'm going to take it to my ironing board and then just iron it down. I'll repeat the same thing on this other side and we're going to see how I'm going to make it work. Alright friends, so now that I've done this, I'm just going to do what I was showing us the other time again. Let me first of all bone off this fraying edge of my elastic. Just to secure the edge of the elastic. See how seamless is going in now. And to make, at the end of the day, your work will even look neater. If you're hearing any noise, someone is making noise upstairs of our apartment. So now that I've tucked it in, something like this, I'm just going to sew it down on maybe like 1/4 of an inch or 1/2 an inch. Next thing, I'm going to pull out my elastic from here, secure it first of all here, and then also sew it down. And then I'll come back to show us the finished result.
After taking the time to sew down my elastic casing and elastic, I realized that my elastic casing was too short. So ideally, you want your elastic casing to be 2 times the length of your elastic. This elastic was about 6 inches long, so it was only right for me to make my elastic casing about 12 inches long in order for the pleat work and everything to fit perfectly. So please make the adjustments on your own work and then don't make the mistake that I made. Alternatively, you can just put straps that your customer or you would tie instead of the elastic. So it depends on you. You guys will see how I eventually used a strap for this particular pleat portion of this particular tutorial. So I just thought to mention that real quick for us before moving ahead with this video.
So it's time to add the croc stones to this headpiece. For those that don't really know how to use it, or for those that don't really know how to use this pearl setting machine, I have a whole video where I explained the process. So please go check it out. If you're new here, welcome. We've done a lot, you've missed a lot, but it's not too late to catch up. So please go check out my older videos just so you're up to speed with everything I come on here with. So I'm simply going to attach about a couple on each rows and then we'll move on. See how this just attached nicely, and this is what it looks like behind. If you don't have this pearl setting machine, you can use glue, because these croc stones you can't sew them on. Like I said, go check out that other video. I explained extensively how this entire process works. So this is what the croc stone looks like behind. It's just plain, so you can't sew it on. So it's either you use this pearl setting machine or you use your glue to glue it onto fabric. We know how glue can be. It can just simply fall off after a while. So to avoid that whole situation, I highly recommend this pearl setting machine. So this is what it looks like. We can still add, I still have about 4 more pieces of croc stones, so I think I'm just going to add them. So this is what it all looks like for now. If you don't have these croc stones that I used for the sake of this particular headband design, before creating this rows, you can use rhinestones, iron rhinestones on your Asooke fabric before creating these rows. But it's all your choice, right? The way in which you decide to accessorize your work, it's your call. I have several tutorials on how to accessorize different things, dresses and headpieces. You can even decide to bead. So it all depends on you and the vibe you are going for. I still want to add some design into this middle here. I'm going to do a separate tutorial on the bead work that I'm going to do at this center here. So feel free to check it out. But that's not going to be in this video because I want to just set this aside and move on to the second headband that I'm supposed to make for these clients that I'm working for. So now I'm simply going to plug in my hot glue. I'll first of all use glue to attach these rows to my headband. Then I'll now follow up with hand stitching. So I'm just going to leave my hot glue to heat up before I now go ahead to place this. If you've been enjoying the video so far, please hit the like button. The comment for today is, what do we call? Amazing. The comment for today is amazing. So if you made it up to this point in the video, please comment amazing down in the comments so I know that you're one of the people that watch my videos thoroughly. Thank you. So with the placement, I wouldn't recommend that you put these rows at the center because it's just going to look like you're wearing something weird on your head, right? Oh, my microphone has been placed weird. I hope you guys have been hearing me, but as I was saying, for the placement of the rose, I won't recommend that you put it at the center. You need to tilt it to the side a little. Okay, so my client wants hers to be on her left hand side, so that's where I'm going to place this rose. These are some of the things that we discussed during our consultation. So when making headpieces for people, especially if you're trying to create something incredibly stunning, please make sure that you think of all the modalities of what you're trying to create and ask for your client's preferences. I could have easily just decided that, oh, I'll just place the rose anywhere, but I had to ask her because, you know, people have their pretty side. I don't know if you guys are one of these people that I believe I have a pretty side. I believe my left hand side too is my prettier side. The left hand side of my face is prettier than my right hand side. So I like when things fall on the left hand side of my body or my face, right? So it's nice to just ask all these questions before making decisions for your clients. So like I said earlier, my client wants her rose to be on the left, so that's exactly where I'm going to place it. So I'm just going to apply some glue right here using my hot glue, like so. I'm not going to put too much glue so that it'll be easy for me to tack it down when I'm ready to tack. So I have my glue right here, as you can see, and then I'm just going to place this on top like so and press it down real good. Really, really good. Remember I said I'm not just going to use glue and move on with life. I'm going to still follow it up with tacking. So please don't just use glue and keep it pushing. It will most likely fail after a while. Now that this is sitting pretty, I'll pick up the second rose and also apply some glue. Can we see what we have here? I'm just going to grab my needle and thread now and then tack down these rows onto the headband to make sure that my work is perfectly secured and nothing is moving around unnecessarily. One of us has told me that anytime I'm working with this kind of thing, it's best to use pliers to pull it out. I hope we also learned from that. If you're having difficulties passing your needle and thread through your work, just grab a plier and to make your life much easier. So for this, I'm just doing little stitches around where I placed my rose to just secure it to the headband. I don't want to bore you guys, so I'm just going to speed through this process and then show us the end result of this gorgeous headband that I made for my client. Alright friends, so this is the end result of this particular headpiece. This is what it all looks like. Like I said earlier, the placement of the rose, you can decide whether you want to put yours flat like I did my own. This is because this is what my client requested for. She wanted it to be flat. And if you want it standing as well, I believe I shared the illustration. So if you missed that part, that means you skipped. So please go back and watch the portion where I was explaining how to attach the rose onto your headband. So this is it basically. This is the end result. And my client wanted her own headband to look like AUTOGELE. You know, where you're wearing headband, but people that don't know think it's AUTOGELE. So she wanted something that she could put at the front of the headband. So I have this pleat work. You guys remember the pleats that we did at the beginning? So this is what the pleat looks like. She's going to tie this in front of the headband and then place the headband on top. I'm going to illustrate how the placement is going to look like using my mannequin head because I can't try this on. This is a client's property, so it won't be right for me to try it on myself. So just look at the way I'm placing everything on my mannequin head and replicate it on your own work. If you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to give this video a big fat thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe to this channel. I share tutorials similar to what you just watched. I share tutorials on beading, sewing and craft and just millinery, a bunch of different things basically. So please subscribe and join us. Share this video with a friend. If you have someone that you want to make this for you, feel free to share it with them, even though I recommend that you patronize me. Okay, if you want me to make this headband for you, please send me a DM on Instagram. But if you also want to send it to your own person, if you have someone in your city that can make this for you, send this video to them to watch how I made this so they can make it for you as well. Thank you guys again for watching today's video, and I can't wait to see you in another one. Bye.